Emperor Alexander II of Russia had one daughter, Maria, and six sons, Tsarevich Nicholas, Emperor Alexander III, and Grand Dukes Vladimir, Alexei, Sergei, and Paul. Tsarevich Nicholas was engaged to Princess Dagmar of Denmark, but he died of bronchitis before the wedding could take place. So Dagmar was then engaged to her late fiance's younger brother, who later became Emperor Alexander III. They were both members of the Oldenburg dynasty, and Denmark and Russia had been allies in several wars against Sweden, most recently in the Finnish War. Alexander took his father's assassination as a sign to end the reforming policies and lived in Gatchina Palace, safely outside of St. Petersburg. Alexander possessed immense strength. When their train derailed near Borky in 1888, he held up the roof to allow his family to escape. Alexander III's younger brother Vladimir is the ancestor of the current claimants to the Russian throne. Vladimir collected art and books and sponsored Diaghilev's Ballet Russes. His wife, Maria Pavlovna of Mecklenburg-Schwerin, was the greatest hostess of St. Petersburg, rivaling the Empress. They lived at the Vladimir Palace, which today houses the Academics and Scientists Association. They had four children, Cyril, Boris, Andrei, and Elena. Andrei bought a palace from a railroad magnate named von Derwitz, and it later became the first wedding palace in the Soviet Union. Cyril married his first cousin, Victoria of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, who had divorced the Empress's brother in order to marry him, so the imperial family boycotted the wedding. Cyril was appointed commander of the naval depot of the Guards. During the February Revolution of 1917, he swore allegiance to the provisional government, which many Romanovs saw as treason. Cyril was also the first Romanov to flee the revolution, to Finland. In 1926, he proclaimed himself emperor. Cyril's son Vladimir carried on the claims to the Russian crown. In 1942, he refused to issue a manifesto calling on Russian immigrants to support Nazi Germany's war against the Soviet Union, for which he was placed in an internment camp at Compiègne. His daughter Maria is the current claimant, supported by the Russian Orthodox Church but opposed by the Romanov Family Association. Her son George married Rebecca Betterini in 2021, and their son Alexander was born the following year, making it the first Romanov royal wedding and royal birth in Russia since the revolution. Now back to the sons of Emperor Alexander II. Vladimir's younger brother Alexei became admiral of the Russian Navy in 1901. He built Alexei Palace, named after himself, which is today the Music House. Alexei's younger brother Sergei was appointed governor-general of Moscow in 1891. In this capacity, he was blamed for the 1896 Kodyinka tragedy at the coronation of his nephew, Nicholas II. As a result, Sergei, like his father Alexander II before him, was killed by a bomb thrown at his carriage by a revolutionary. His widow Ella, a sister of the last empress, forgave his murderer and spent the rest of her life as a nun. Despite this, she was thrown down a mine shaft along with several other family members by the Bolsheviks during the Russian Revolution. Sergei and Ella lived at Beloselsky-Belozersky Palace, which is today a municipal cultural center. Sergei's brother Paul was the sixth and youngest son of Emperor Alexander II. Paul served as commander of the Preobrazhensky Regiment and member of the Councils of State and Supreme War. His palace was built for Baron Steiglitz, the first governor of the Bank of Russia, and was recently acquired by the St. Petersburg State University. Paul's wife, Princess Alexandra of Greece, fell getting into a boat on the Moskva River in Moscow. The following day, she collapsed in the middle of a ball from violent labor pains and gave birth to a son, Dmitri, but then lapsed into a fatal coma and died 6 days later. The Alexandra Hospital in Athens was named after her and contains a special research center for postpartum mortality. Her son Dmitri went on to compete in the 1912 Olympics, help assassinate Rasputin in 1916, and have an affair with Coco Chanel in the 1920s. His son Paul was a 3-time mayor of Palm Beach, Florida, and his 4 children live in Cincinnati, Ohio. The sons of Alexander II of Russia, Grand Dukes Vladimir, Alexei, Sergei, and Paul, can still be remembered through their descendants and the palaces they left behind in St. Petersburg.